All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about manipulation, specifically the kinds of tactics that are designed to confuse you, to control you, and just leave you feeling completely drained. We're going to decode the whole thing. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you're constantly trying to hit a target, but the second you get close, that target just moves? It's this incredibly frustrating feeling, right? Like you're in a race, but the finish line keeps getting further and further away. Well, if that sounds familiar, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You're not imagining it. That feeling of always being confused, of never quite getting it right, that is a very real experience. And you know what? A lot of the time, it's being created on purpose. See, this isn't just random bad luck. It's actually a set of very specific, very repeatable tactics. It feels like you're being forced to play a game, but no one ever gave you the rulebook. So in this explainer, that's what we're going to do. We're pulling back the curtain to show you the playbook, so you can start to see the game for what it really is. Okay, first up, let's talk about tactics that actually distort reality. These are the strategies that are specifically designed to warp how you see the world, to make you second-guess yourself, and just keep you constantly off balance. The first one is a big one. It's called moving the goalposts, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Somebody sets a target for you, but the very moment you meet it, they change the rules. It's designed so you can never, ever win. And you can see how this plays out, right? It always starts with something that seems really clear, really achievable. They'll say, look, just do this one thing and everything will be okay. But then the moment you do it, that goal just vanishes. It's replaced by a new one, a harder one, an impossible one. Suddenly, nothing is ever good enough. And this quote just captures that cycle perfectly. You try again, you work even harder, you finally meet that new ridiculous standard, and then, poof, they move it again. You start to realize the goal was never for you to succeed. The goal was to keep you trying. All right, let's look at the next tactic. This one's called future faking. This is when someone paints this beautiful, elaborate picture of a future with you, but they have absolutely zero intention of ever making it happen. And look at the kinds of promises we're talking about here. They're not vague little hopes. They're these big, specific plans, moving in together, getting married, starting that dream business. It's the detail that makes this fake future feel so real, and that's what keeps you so invested. And this is the part you really have to get. These promises, they aren't plans, they're tools. They are the carrot on the stick to keep you hooked, to make you put up with all sorts of bad behavior right now, all because you're holding out for a future that only exists in their words. Okay, so that was about messing with your reality. Now, let's shift gears and talk about our second category of tactics, the ones that are all about shifting blame. This is how they make sure that no matter what happens, it is never, ever their fault. First up, we have a total classic, weaponized incompetence. Oh, you've probably seen this one. This is the art of strategic helplessness. Someone pretends they are just completely incapable of doing a task, knowing that eventually you'll get so frustrated you'll just give up and do it yourself. And you can see the whole pattern laid out right here. It's so predictable. First, there's an agreement. Sure, I'll do that. Then comes the failure. They do it, but they do it so badly it actually creates more work for you. That leads to step 3, frustration. You're just tired of fixing their mess. And that brings us to the final step, the takeover. You just give in, you stop asking, and you do it yourself, forever. They've basically trained you to have zero expectations. And here's the really wild part. They somehow manage to twist it so that they're the victim. Can you believe that? Suddenly, the problem isn't that they didn't do the work, it's that your expectations are just too high, all while you're drowning in all the labor they've just avoided. And that whole idea of them playing the victim, well, that leads us right into our final tactic for today, victim reversal. This is when someone who has clearly hurt you somehow flips the entire situation around to make it seem like they're the one who's been wronged. So just picture this. They've done something that really hurt you. You take a deep breath, you approach them calmly, and you just try to explain how their actions made you feel. You're just hoping for a little bit of understanding, maybe an apology. But what do you get instead of accountability? A performance, a total breakdown. They just crumble. They're suddenly so devastated that you would ever accuse them of such a thing. Your pain gets completely reframed as an attack on them. And now the question is, how could you be so cruel?
And this is always how it ends, the whole conversation that's flipped on its head. It started because you were hurting, and it ends with you actually apologizing and comforting the very person who hurt you in the first place. Your original point? It's gone, completely buried. So after laying all of this out, where do we go from here? Well, we move from being confused to having clarity. Recognizing these patterns isn't about learning how to fight. It's about learning how to protect yourself. This knowledge, it's your shield. And I really want to be clear about something. The point of all this is not to give you a bunch of labels to throw at people. The goal is to give you the language to understand your own experience. It's about empowering you to trust your gut when a situation just feels fundamentally wrong. So let's run through the key takeaways here. First, trust your perception. That little voice inside, listen to it. If something feels off, it probably is. Second, look for the patterns over time, not just single incidents. Third,
Actions always matter more than words. Pay attention to what people do, not the amazing futures they promise. And finally, remember that constant confusion is a giant red flag. It's a signal that something is just not right. So we've pulled back the curtain, we've looked at the playbook, and now, I guess the only question left is this. If knowledge is power, what are you going to do with it now? Thanks for watching.